I did say I wanted to take a look back at D30 because this was kind of an introduction to the concept of squeezes. And I mean, I'm sure that a lot of my viewers are very familiar with squeezes, and so I can just talk about them the way I often do when I'm playing through some of these events. But for the sake of doing a bit of a deeper dive into some of these puzzles, I think that this is a good one to look at and introduce the concept of a simple squeeze. So let's look at the hand originally. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking through the auctions because I think a lot of their auctions are mostly ridiculous. Obviously, this hand is completely obnoxious. To have the auction a no trump past 6 no trump, but we're here and we look at how many tricks we have. Well, outside of the diamond suit, because those are the places that we can get, tricks on power without needing a finesse or anything, we have 4 spades and 2 clubs and 1 heart, which brings us up to, oh no, Bridge Base Online has frozen again. Why does this happen? Apologies. Well, where were we? So, I was counting tricks outside of the diamond suit. We have 4 spades. Just on power, we have 2 clubs, gets us up to 6. We can set up a second heart trick, so that's going to get us up to 8, but we're going to need the diamond finesse, and we're going to need a bunch of extra tricks in the diamond suit. Sorry, I guess we don't necessarily need the diamond finesse if the King of Hearts is on side. And for that reason, I think it's very clear immediately to just play the Jack of Hearts. Sure, an opponent against this type of auction probably isn't leading a heart away from the king. That would be a very risky thing to do. But it's not entirely insane if we had a much slower auction that kind of revealed that North had long diamonds and that we had some spades and, no diamond fit, but some clubs for West to lead a heart away from the king. We might be off a cashing ace King of Hearts. Or we might be off the King Queen of Hearts and they can set up a heart trick, so that when East gets in with the presumed diamond honor, they can cash a heart. So I think a heart away from the king in general against 6 no trump would not be that insane. And if this finesse just wins at trick 1, maybe you could call it a bit less than 50%, but certainly in the ballpark, then we can just knock out the king of diamonds and claim. So that's going to be our starting point on this hand, right? We don't know if the finesse is going to win, but if we do go up with the ace of hearts, we're not really gaining a whole lot. It's not as if we can then take a diamond finesse and we just have 12 tricks. King of diamonds could be offside. West could have king 4th of diamonds or something. So we take the heart finesse, East wins the king, and East returns a heart. Okay. So we win the ace of hearts in dummy, and now we have kind of a full count on what our objective is on this hand. We're going to need the diamond finesse to succeed. We're also going to need some extra diamond tricks. So for a lot of players, what they might do is cross to the ace of clubs, take a diamond finesse, cross to, say, the queen of spades, take another diamond finesse. And this is a very reasonable line of play. You're going to make when diamonds are 3-2. But if you're familiar with these concepts of squeezes, you can potentially win against some extra layouts of the opponent's cards. And here, in this case, the main concern is that West has king of diamonds with at least 4 of them. They could have king 5th of diamonds or king 4th of diamonds. But in that case, we could score 3 diamond tricks via the help of a finesse. We have 4 spades, we're going to get our 2 hearts and 2 clubs. That's not enough tricks. That's only 11. And eventually we're going to lose the 4th round of clubs in our hand. Well, squeezes operate in a variety of forms. And this is not exactly like the most basic layout of the cards, but a good way to think about squeezes if you're new to it is to try and visualize an end position you can get to before you play for example, the very last trick that you're going to cash and think about how many cards are left and what each opponent can have, you know, or if you're only squeezing one player, what that one player can have. Like every single card that in their hand and what they're going to have in that ultimate end position before you play your last card. So in this case, if the king of diamonds is on side, we don't need to take 2 rounds of diamond finesses immediately. We can take 1 diamond finesse, which I think is a good plan. Just in case the king of diamonds is offside, like at the table, 6 no trump could just be going down. Both red finesses are failing, and we don't want to like cash a bunch of high cards in our hand and then take a diamond finesse later, find out East wins, and now the club suit's wide open. Or East has a 5th spade, or East has a 4th heart to cash. So for those reasons, I think it is important to take a diamond finesse early, make sure that we get out for down 1, if that's the best case scenario for us. Could still earn our side a couple of imps if the other table is a little bit careless and their line of play ends up going down more. But once we do take the diamond finesse and it wins, we can then kind of sit back and relax, and we don't need to take the second diamond finesse immediately. So we can think about potential end positions that we can end up reaching. And we should be thinking about these plans kind of early on. I'm going to take the diamond finesse first to make the visualization a little bit simpler as we move forward. So I guess let's lead the jack of spades to the queen. And I'm going to play a diamond to the queen. Okay, now that the diamond finesses win, you know, as mentioned before, if diamonds are splitting, like West has king doubleton or king third, we could just cross back to our hand and take a diamond finesse, run the diamond suit. We have plenty of tricks. But there's a small extra chance if West has king fourth of diamonds and they happen to hold extra length in the club suit. They can get squeezed. And this is not exactly a simple squeeze. I suppose you could say it is, well, it is a bit of a simple squeeze, but there's some extra elements in this, in that we're going to need to take a diamond finesse later. So how do we want to think about the end position that we're planning to reach? Well, we're going to cash all of our major suit cards. And so we can run 3 rounds of spades. We need to decide what we're discarding from North's hand. But then we're going to think about the position right before we cash the queen of hearts, because that's like the very last trick before we think that something interesting might happen to West's hand. And so that's going to leave us 6 cards in the end position. So what 6 cards is dummy going to have at this point? Well, 3 diamond tricks is plenty, which means we don't need the 7 or 8 of diamonds. Or I guess in some worlds, we don't need the 8 or 10 of diamonds if you want to preserve that 7 for the off chance of scoring a beer. Which means for our 6 cards, we can keep ace jack 7 of diamonds and the 6-5-4 of clubs in dummy. Well, West is going to be down to 6 cards as well. So the worst case scenario for us is that West has king third of diamonds remaining, right? That means that West can have at most 3 cards in other suits. Well, if one of those is a heart, West could only have 2 clubs, in which case, maybe, if they had started with long clubs, all of our clubs are already good. But, additionally, if West happens to have 3 clubs in that position, they still have the clubs protected, but when we play the queen of hearts, they're going to have to find a discard. And so again, visualizing the 6-card ending, queen of hearts, 4 clubs, diamond, opposite 3 clubs, and ace jack third of diamonds. West can't afford to pitch a diamond, otherwise we just take the diamond finesse and run the diamond suit. So West must discard a club, holding on to king third of diamonds here. And we still want to be a little bit careful at that point, but I'll talk about that once we get to that spot, as to what we should discard from the north hand. So let's reach that end position. note West discards so far. West has pitched a heart and then a club on the third and fourth spades. So now we can lead the queen of hearts. West throws a second club, and with us having started with 7, the opponents started with 6 clubs between them. Now there's only 4 clubs outstanding. If the opponent's clubs are 2-2, then we have the rest of the tricks. But it is important that we discard a club from North's hand on this trick, because if we discard a diamond thinking that, oh, West has been squeezed, that's great news, right? We could be wrong. Diamonds might have been 3-2 all along, and the diamond suit was actually running. So you need to not only, visualize this end position and say, okay, well, if West did have king third of diamonds and 3 small clubs here, they would be squeezed, which is true. But you need to make sure that you're not skipping out on other potential scenarios that you could have made your contract. So important to pitch a club. And now we can actually do things in kind of a couple of different orders, but I'm going to choose a different order than I did when I actually played the hand in person, because I think this might be a little bit easier to conceptualize. Well, let's take the diamond finesse, right? Our diamond finesse already won. This is not strictly necessary if all of our clubs are good, but sometimes you lose count of the hand. And so coming up with a way to, avoid counting if you don't need to can be useful for some of these squeezes. Here, all we need to pay attention to is that West has the king of diamonds. If our diamonds are good, we can take a diamond finesse, cash the diamond ace, the king will drop, our 7 of diamonds will be a winner, and then, we have the rest of the tricks. Maybe this would not be proper beer technique, where we should cash the ace king of clubs first, but this will make things a little bit easier when you're first learning squeezes, because you don't have as much to pay attention to. You don't need to fully count out the distribution of clubs. Maybe you've forgotten that you pitched a club from North's hand, for example. So we play a diamond to the jack, we play the ace of diamonds, and now that our 7 of diamonds is not good, we know that we can't rely on that. So we just play club back to the ace, play the king of clubs, and hope that our 3 of clubs is good. And in fact, it was when West started with 4 clubs and 4 diamonds to start the hand. West was the only one who could guard clubs, and so West happened to get squeezed in clubs and diamonds throughout the play. So I'm going to try and bring up kind of a similar idea if other squeezes do present themselves through the level 4 deals, which I expect them to, where we can, and this is something that Kurt was trying to work through as he was doing some of the level 4 deals on stream, I guess a week and a half ago, where he was visualizing end positions and trying to figure out who is going to be able to hold what cards and how should I play from there to maximize my chances of making the contract. Now, in addition to visualizing end positions, squeezes can start becoming more and more complicated, where we have to plan a line of play to reach that end position. In 6 no trump, it was very easy. We had control of all the suits. But if we were in 3 no trump on a hand like this, where our objective was to squeeze West in clubs and diamonds, we're going to have to lose an awful lot of tricks along the way, and that opens the door for the opponents to cut communications between our hands or do a variety of other things that would prevent us from being able to reach the squeeze position. So, with all that intro out of the way, let's start with A1. We get the king of clubs lead. And take a look at the auction quickly. There was no bidding. We get to 6 spades. Again, another one of these silly auctions where, this is not how you would bid the hand in real life, but we may well have reached this pretty good slam contract. We open a spade, and partner either shows a 4-card limit raise or Maybe even a mixed raise with 4 trumps would be good enough to get us there. Partner does have all of the fitting honors in diamonds, hearts, and spades, of course. Well, the hand looks somewhat straightforward in that we don't have a spade loser, so we can just pull trumps. And we don't have a club loser, we don't have a diamond loser. Our whole objective is going to be to hold our heart losers to 1. Well, if hearts are 3-2, very easy, which means the only thing we really need to concern ourselves with is a 4-1 heart split. And we can actually pick up several 4-1 heart splits. We have options, in fact. But our first objective is going to be to eliminate the minor suits. Now, I see the solution to the problem. I'm still going to try and talk through how you might go about playing these hands in real life, especially if you're not familiar with working through an entire puzzle start to finish from trick 1. So I'm not going to go into details about how we're going to play the heart suit yet. I'm kind of going to look at some overarching concepts and how you might, not necessarily stumble your way into an answer to this kind of problem, but do things in a sensible order, play the hand out as if you're, working towards something, and then we can talk about the importance of playing for 4-1 heart splits later. So we do have enough dummy entries to ruff both a club and a diamond in our own hand, and that has to be our first step. If we're ever going to strip the hand and throw an opponent in with a heart to potentially, hold our 2 heart losers, if an opponent has, say, Queen Jack 10 4th as an example, then we do need to strip the minor suits, otherwise they're going to be able to exit with a club or a diamond. So that means let's pull trumps and utilize the King of Spades entry to ruff a club, utilize the King of Diamonds entry to ruff a diamond. So spades are 3-0. And as promised, we will now ruff a club. We can then play the ace of diamonds, a diamond to the king, and ruff a diamond. Great. Well, now what? So again, if hearts are 3-2, it doesn't really matter what we do. We could duck a heart, we could go king of hearts, heart to the ace, or king of hearts and ace drops an honor. We could run the 9 as a safety play. It almost looks as if we have a little bit of guesswork to do if the heart suit is 4-1. But in fact, that's not the case if you think a little deeper about the hand. So if hearts are 4-1, what are the possibilities? Well, the possibilities are one opponent has a singleton heart honor, okay? And the second possibility is that one opponent has a small singleton. Obviously hearts could be 5-0 as well. That's kind of the same scenario as an opponent having a small singleton. Well, if we play a heart to the ace, imagine East shows out on this trick. Somewhat impossible given that they passed throughout. They would have had a spade void and a heart void. But there's no reason to risk this plan. Think about what happens if we just duck a heart out of hand right now. Our heart spots are actually so good that no matter who wins this trick and no matter what the layout of the heart suit, the opponents will always have to give us 3 heart tricks from here, or play back a minor suit and give us a rough slough. So let's imagine, first off, that that West has Queen Jack 4th of hearts. Okay, we leave the 7 of hearts out of hand. What is West supposed to do? Well, if they play the Jack or Queen, we can play the ace. East singleton 10 is going to pop up, and we're only going to lose 1 heart trick from there. If West plays low from Queen Jack 4th, we play low, East wins the 10, but now East is out of hearts, so they have to lead a minor suit. They'll give us a rough slough. What happens if East is the one with Queen, Jack, 10, fourth of hearts? We lead the 7 of hearts, West plays their low spot card, so we play low. East wins the 10 from Queen, Jack, 10. If they play a minor, we get a rough slough, and we're good. If they play back a heart, though, we can just play low from our hand. If West follows, hearts have split 3-2. If West shows out, then we'll be able to take a finesse back against East's remaining heart honor. So last point of interest, if West does play a heart on this trick and we win the ace and East follows low, a heart honor on this trick, and we win the ace and East follows low, we can then play a heart back to the 9, kind of throwing West in for an end play. But anyway, so that's the idea. It might take a little while to spot this plan because a lot of players would see this concept of heart to the ace, heart to the 9, and think, oh, this is great, but without realizing that they can actually just protect against all 4-1 or even 5-0 splits by ducking the first round of the suit. So no squeezes, but that is a 1. We get to 6 spades, and they decided to go through a bit more adventurous bidding this time. Still no opposition bidding. But here we are. Queen of hearts lead. Okay, I would generally recommend, making a plan at trick 1, and I could talk through some plans, but let's see what the opponents do at trick 2, because obviously East is going to win the ace of hearts and then return some card. Okay, East returns a heart. So, there are a couple of things that immediately jump out to me. The diamond suit is blocked. Okay? Which means that either we're going to need to... Well, there's a couple of potential lines of play. I'm trying to tiptoe around stating the lines of play for a second. But either we're going to need to cash a couple of diamonds and then discard a third diamond as we pull trumps. We're only going to be able to pull 4 rounds of trumps because this heart is tapping us. Otherwise, we could cash 1 diamond and then unblock 2 honors on our 5-card trump suit. Or we could try and reverse the dummy in some sense. We have a lot of high spade spots. And so we could try and rough 3 rounds of hearts high in our hand and then use the Jack 10 9 of spades and dummy to pull trumps. We would strand the Jack of diamonds, but with partner having ace, king, queen in the minors, we could take all the tricks. So I think what I want to do is combine my chances between these 2 possible lines of play, if I can. So the dummy reversal line would require us to use, trumps or minor suit cards to enter the dummy and rough 3 hearts with the ace, king, queen of spades. The plan of unblocking the diamonds would require us to pull 4 rounds of trump and discard a diamond after unblocking the ace, king of diamonds. So let's think if we can time the play to test for both of these plans. Because if we're able to pull 2 rounds of trumps quickly, then, and both opponents follow, it seems to me like we should just try and rough 3 hearts high in our hand. But if we can only pull, if trumps happen to be 4-1, we can no longer rough an extra heart in our hand, and opponent's going to score a long trump trick. So then we would need to unblock the diamond suit. So I think with all of that said, our first objective has to be to test if trumps are 4-1 or 3-2. And let's make sure we have enough entries to ruff hearts and get back to the north hand if we do this. So my first instinct is we ruff with the ace of spades. We play 2 rounds of trump ending in dummy. And then if both opponents have followed to 2 rounds of trumps, we ruff a heart high, play a club to the ace, ruff a heart high, play a diamond to the ace, pull the last trump, dummy is good. If 2 rounds of spades see someone show out, now we're going to need to cash the ace king of diamonds. And if those hold, we can pull more trumps ending in hand, pitching non-blocking diamond, and take all 12 tricks from there. So that looks pretty good to me. And I think at the table, this is probably where I would stop thinking. Now, for some of these puzzles, as I mentioned at the start of stream, this is a perfectly good line of play, and you make against a large distribution of the cards. Maybe there's something that is like slightly better and guards against one extra possible layout. I personally don't care. If my partner spent, 10 extra minutes thinking about that at the table, maybe it would be a little bit annoying, but it's fine, like if that's your thing. I just think that that's not a big part of the game. So while it's maybe interesting for a puzzle to try and find that small extra percentage chance, I think that this line of play I've come up with is perfectly fine. So let's test it out. We can play 2 rounds of trumps, and West shows out on the second round of trumps, which means I think we're going to need diamonds to split. Well, 4-2 or better. So as long as he follows to this trick, we can now play the king, queen of spades, unblocking the queen of diamonds and pulling trumps, and now we can cash our diamonds before playing a club to the ace, king, queen. So this is kind of along the lines of when you see a good line of play, look for a better one. Or, maybe along the lines of let's just try and combine chances between 2 possibilities. I'm a little curious, so I'm going to bring up the solution. I'm curious whether or not they thought about this plan of reversing the dummy. So West led a heart to the ace, heart return. South has nothing to lose by roughing high. Sure, true. South draws 2 rounds of trumps. Again, I felt like some of their explanations are incomplete. Winning both tricks in the north hand. The 4-1 trump break complicates matters. South is all winners, but the blockage in the diamond suit. Oh, you know what's interesting? I completely overlooked. If spades were 3-2, we don't need to mess around with roughing a bunch of hearts in our hand. Maybe I would have got there if we reached this position and spades had split. Okay, not doing a great job, ultimately. But yeah, now we cash 2 diamonds and then pull trumps. I don't really understand the alternative. They say South's best chance is to cash 2 of North's diamonds and then revert to pulling trumps. I'm a little confused about what the other plan would be. Diamonds are now unblocked. So ultimately, this was a pretty straightforward hand. I thought we were actually combining chances and in spades splitting as well as the diamonds being able to be unblocked, but turns out if spades are 3-2, we can just pull trumps and claim. Anyway, we're here now. 3 no trump. Jack of hearts lead. There was no bidding. We opened a no trump. Partner raised to 3. Looks like a pretty simple auction. I think players would might go through Puppet Stamen with North's hand nowadays. Hey Jively, thanks for redeeming play with BradyBot. Yeah, we can do another speedball at some point. Man, I feel like every time you've asked to play, I've been like instantly super busy with things because I'm moving out next week of this apartment, and then I'm kind of like couch surfing for a while. But yeah, I will try and get in touch on Discord and figure out a time that we can play. But thanks for being a supportive viewer. I appreciate it. So, Jack of hearts lead. Well, We have 2 hearts, 3 diamonds off the top, and 2 clubs is 7 tricks. If we can score a 4th diamond trick, we only need 3 clubs, and we can safety play the club suit. So I think this is going to be another one of these hands, similar to something we saw in one of the level 3 deals the other day, where we want to find out how many tricks we need from a side suit before playing on that suit itself. Because the percentage play to take 4 club tricks would be cash the king and then play low to the jack. Whereas the percentage play for 3 club tricks is to cash the ace and then play low to the jack. Any luck with the hedge fund job search? Yes. I had my 2nd round interview Monday this week, and I've moved on to the 3rd round interview, which is going to be set up for sometime in the next couple of weeks. And then assuming that goes well, I have a final round, I think, in person. So I would have to go up to New York for that. But I think we're in good shape. Jack of Hearts. I guess, given our length in the club suit and the way the suit's laid out, and because we happen to have Jack 9-8, we can actually win the ace of clubs and just lead the 8 of clubs out of hand. If West follows, we can run it. So I think we don't need multiple entries to the north hand, which I was originally a little bit concerned about. Like, if I test the diamonds and then I play a club to the ace, how do I get back to north's hand to lead a club to the jack? We don't need to. So this basically means I can win these tricks in any hand. We're going to need to be a little bit careful. I guess not too careful, right? Even if the opponent's diamonds are 5-1, we're only setting up 2 diamond tricks for them by cashing the ace, king, queen of diamonds. So anyway, I think this is the plan. We combine chances in the diamond and club suits. Great. The diamonds have split. Thanks to our spade holding, we actually can just cash the 4th diamond now. But basically the idea from here is we want to protect against, once again, all layouts of the club suit. Yeah, if they're 5-1, you don't cash the 3rd. Exactly. I was going to mention that, but it honestly doesn't even matter, right? We might give up some extra under tricks if we go wrong in clubs from there, but we can never make the contract if we don't pick up the clubs. Yeah, don't need to protect against the robot's false carding. So as mentioned before, this is now a exercise in finding a safety play in the club suit because we have 2 red suit tricks still to cash. Only need 3 clubs, and the way to do it is to lead low to the ace on the 1st round, and then lead another club and duck when West does not cover. They could have taken 2 spades from there, but we would then be able to get in and score our clubs. So if West had showed out on that 2nd round of clubs, we would then have won the king of clubs and led a low club back towards the jack. But 3-no trump been made. Okay. Looks like we're getting a lot of hands that feel as if, on the outset, are combine your chances. Well, no auction here. So we get to 6 spades, we get the queen of hearts lead, and we win the ace. Well, if spades split, I think we can strip the hand and lead a diamond towards the ace-jack-8 to end play west. Let me just think about this line of play for a second. You really struggled with this one? Yeah, so oftentimes when you have a finessable position, you want to look for ways to like end play someone into leading that suit for you. And here we have like multiple finessable positions coming through the same player, like east and we could finesse east for the diamond queen or the club king. What that means is like if we can throw west in and they're going to have like so many suits that they can't lead, right? West can't lead diamonds, that would give us a diamond trick. West can't lead clubs, that would give us a club trick. So how do we want to set this up? Well, the 8 of diamonds is actually a pretty big card. If we only had ace-jack, 6 of diamonds or ace-jack 5 of diamonds or even ace-jack 7 of diamonds, we wouldn't be able to set up the line of play that I'm thinking of. Now, it's possible the spades don't break, in which case we're going to need a little bit of extra help to make this. But the basic plan is going to be to strip the heart suit and lead a diamond from North's hand. If East plays a low card, we'll play the 8. West will win. Can't lead diamonds, that gives us a trick. Can't lead clubs, that gives us a trick. As long as we have an extra spade to enter dummy, where if West does return a diamond, we can play jack of diamonds, ace of diamonds, get back to North's hand for the king of diamonds to pitch our club loser. So that's our ultimate objective. Now, how do we plan the play on this one? Well, we can pull one round of trumps, and the trumps do split. But if we play the king of spades immediately, we're going to run out of entries to North's hand. So before we play the king of spades, we need to unblock the king of hearts, and now play a spade to the king, so that we can ruff a heart. And making sure all the while to preserve the 3-2 of spades for multiple entries to North's hand. So now we can play spade back to the dummy, and we've reached kind of this position that we're hoping for, right? We lead a diamond, and if East had played the 10 or 9 or queen on this trick, we just cover East's card. So this 8 of diamonds is serving a bit of a dual purpose. Not only can we just use it to throw West in immediately by playing the 8 here, but if East had played the 10 or 9 of diamonds, we cover with the jack, West wins the queen, and now we still have the same end play, but now it's with the ace and 8 as opposed with the ace and jack. So we now unblock the diamonds, use the 3 of spades to cross back to that 7 and dummy, and play the king of diamonds to ditch our club loser. Hey Brad, how's it going? Yeah, this is... I'm not sure how I feel about this hand because this has felt... It felt like, yes, you do need to do a lot of things right, but this wasn't some sort of complicated squeeze or end play or something. Feels like maybe they could have introduced it at a lower level, but I get that you do have to do a lot of things in the right order here. So it's certainly a little more tricky than just draw trumps and claim. Oh no, the New Zealand Nationals got you a little sick. Sorry to hear that. Those things are like super spreaders. Well, for you it's like spring, I guess. But it could still be cold, I guess, depending on where you are. Does it get cold in New Zealand? I thought it was like fairly warm. You all are pretty close to the equator, right? Well, on board 5. We're in 5 clubs. Okay. And we get a trump lead. Okay. This is again probably one of these hands that I feel is fairly silly, but let's try and talk through how we would go about figuring this out. So we have a heart loser, we have a diamond loser. that means our objective is going to be to, well, avoid losing other tricks, kind of. So we have this fourth round of spades that we need to deal with. Fortunately, dummy has a lot of very high trumps. This would be a little bit different if dummy's trumps were like the 4-3 deuce, but because dummy has this 9 of clubs, as long as we can cash a few rounds of spades, we'll be able to rough the fourth round of spades with the 9 of clubs, making our contract. 19 Celsius is pretty warm, but 5 to 19 is like very large range. That's enormous, isn't it? Maybe it's not so bad. I guess the difference in temperature today for us was like 20 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, I mean, it's not 14 Celsius, but it's like pretty close to 14 Celsius. All right, first things first, let's find out if East follows to the first round of clubs. Otherwise, I think we have a pretty straightforward line of play. We would have to have spades split mostly. We could cash the ace, king, queen of spades, rough the fourth round high, pull trumps. So clubs have somewhat split. Well, we have one entry to the dummy, and oftentimes when you see a hand like this, you want to cash one fewer card than you have in the suit, and then cross to dummy to lead towards the remaining high card in the suit. This way it would prevent your right-hand opponent from being able to rough in at some point. Like if we cash the ace of spades and cross to the king of hearts and then let a spade towards the king, even if we guessed right, quote unquote, where East had a singleton in the suit, we wouldn't really accomplish much. East would discard, we win the king, we have no way to get back over there to lead towards the queen anymore. So we could pick up a doubleton spade in East's hand by going ace, king of spades, heart to the king, and a spade over. The only issue that we have to worry about at that point is that East might rough the third round of spades. So why am I saying that this is probably preferable to just playing ace, king, queen of spades and hoping they split, or, you know, pulling a second round of trumps and then going ace, king, queen of spades and hoping they split, or that the player with short spades and short clubs the player with short spades has short clubs, right? Because if East is 2-2 in the black suits, we could pull a second trump, ace, king, queen of spades, rough the fourth round in dummy, cross back to the ace of hearts and pull the last trump and then claim. Well, I think we have a good chance to make if East has 2 spades and 3 clubs by taking this line of play. So let me think if there's a small optimization that we can go for. Yeah, actually, okay, now that I'm thinking about it, it probably is correct to pull the second round of trumps, but only for the reason that it protects against that 2-2 in the black suits position. So here's what I'm thinking now. If East is 2-2 in the black suits, of course we can pull a second round of trumps and play ace, king, queen of spades, rough the spade, and like I said, cross to the heart ace. But I think if East is 2-3 in trumps, we can also, or 2 spades and 3 trumps, we can also do the same thing. King of clubs, ace, king of spades, cross to the heart king, and lead a spade up. Well, if East discards, we're in great shape. We rough the fourth round of spade. Well, we win our honor. We rough the fourth round with dummy's high trump, eventually getting back to the south hand to pull trumps. We'll exit a diamond to make sure we get back to the south hand safely. If East ruffs, we play the 2 of spades on the 3rd round of the suit. East might play back a heart, trying to set up a heart trick, but we can win the ace of hearts, and now that there are no more trumps, we can play a spade, pitching a heart, ruff our hardened dummy, and still make 11 tricks. So I think for that reason, this looks like the correct line of play. So we do pull a 2nd trump, we now cash 2 spades, and we cross to the king of hearts, lead a spade, East shows out, we can now ruff a spade, and last thing that we need, pitfall we need to avoid, is leading a heart. We want the opponents to lead that suit for us, if possible. Because potentially we could have led a heart to the ace and gotten it ruffed or something like that. But now we can pull trumps, and we have our 11 tricks. So yeah, this was kind of an exercise in figuring out what distributions you could guard against. And we found one, which was, I guess, not obvious from the start of the hand. 3 trumps and 2 spades. So made 5 clubs. On to deal 6. East opens heart. We have overcalled 1 spade. Honestly, quite fair, and I don't think it's a horrible bid. I believe a lot of players might prefer takeout double with South's hand, but 1 spade's fine. We're here now. West raised to 2 hearts, and after that we got to 4 spades. Fine, we're in a 4-3 fit. These things happen. Whoa. That is a dummy. Well, we saw a hand that's somewhat similar to this, and I'm trying to decide, but whether or not the line of play that worked on that hand is what we should do here. So we saw a similar hand where dummy had a solid suit, but no outside entries, or maybe they knocked out the entry at trick 1 as they're doing here. And our trump suit had the potential of running into a bad break. Well, in this case, that's kind of what the hand looks like, and there the idea was to duck the first round of trumps to protect against a bad trump split. And in that case, we actually had 8 trumps between us, ace, king, queen, 5th, opposite 3 small, and it was still correct to duck the first round. But I'm curious if this is a similar problem. An issue I do see that could arise is clubs could be 3-0. The opponents might be getting club ruffs. Hey, Steph. Welcome. Good to see you. So I'm thinking, if clubs are 3-0, we might expect East is more likely to be short in clubs than West. And the 6 of hearts happens to be the lowest outstanding heart spot. So I could try and duck this trick. I'm a little concerned, though, that I might end up then, they shift to clubs. I lose a heart, a diamond, a spade, and a club ruff. Yeah, I think the line of play actually is somewhat clear now that I'm looking at the possibilities. We just win the ace of hearts. If clubs are 2-1 and spades are 4-2, we can claim by ducking the first round of spades. So we'll win the ace and duck a spade. And now they can cash a heart. They can cash a diamond. But they switch to clubs, hoping to give their partner a ruff. It didn't work. Now all we need is for the spade suit to come home, and it does. So 10 tricks, because they're never going to give us an 11th. Never let me play out when I get over tricks on these deals. But we made our contract. Yeah, this is... I actually think this is a theme I've like never seen in real life. Or maybe I've seen it and I just like forgot about it and have never used it. But it's come up a couple of times now in puzzles with this exact suit combination to duck the first round of the suit. I think it's just like very unusual in trumps because oftentimes you're exposing yourself to a like roughs when you duck the first round of trumps with such a strong trump holding. Okay, have a good workout, stuff. Pump those irons. You need to be big and strong. Yeah, I don't think much more to say about this one. Again, I was hoping to get more squeezes so that I can walk through kind of visualizing the end positions of those. Maybe they'll come up later. But, I mean, nonetheless, kind of a cool hand, interesting concept to be aware of, but again, maybe impractical since I've never seen it in real life. All right, no opponent bidding. We get to 4 spades on this one. Ooh. Now, this hand is oddly reminiscent of, was it hand 2? Yeah, the second board that we played. So in that contract, we were in 6 spades. They led our singleton and then started forcing us in that suit. Here things are a little different, but I think the plan that I had talked about on that previous board is actually cropping up now. So Queen of Clubs lead. For starters, you know, some of these puzzles involve a weird duck from like ace fourth opposite of singleton. This is not one of them. They can cash 3 hearts if we duck the first trick. So let's win the ace of clubs and then talk about what we're seeing. Well, if we go after a diamond ruff in the dummy, similar to what we did on board 5, right? We went after a spade ruff in the dummy, or you know, something along those lines of play in that 5 club contract. We're going to run into the issue where if East does ruff a diamond, we don't have control of the other suit. Like in the hand where we played 5 clubs, the important thing to note was that when we went after the spade ruff, or leading spades through the player that we were hoping was shortened spades, forcing them to ruff in front of us, and then we would effectively discard a loser on the 4th round of spades. We had protection in the heart suit. We still had the ace of hearts in our hand. Here, if East ever ruffs a diamond, they're going to be able to just start playing hearts immediately and take a bunch of heart tricks. So I don't think we can afford to ruff a diamond in the dummy, or play for like a 4-2 diamond split. Now, we could try a similar line of play where we play East for like a doubleton diamond and a doubleton spade. We could make the contract on that line of play, and I think if you saw that line of play and tried for it, perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with looking for that. But I believe there's a better plan here, because that's going to make whenever diamonds are 3-3, or it's going to make when the player with a doubleton diamond has a doubleton spade. And this is maybe close to 50% of the time, we'll say. I mean, percentage-wise, a 3-3 split is 36. A 4-2 split is, well, 48. But the player who's shortened spades having diamond shortness is a bit less likely than half of the time of that 48%. So we'll call it 20% of the time that'll happen. Add that to the 36% we get from the 3-3 diamond break, and we're looking at approximately 50% for that line of play. to make the contract. But I think we have a better chance if we are able to ruff 3 rounds of clubs in the south hand and then pull trumps in 3 rounds. We would need spades to be 3-2, but that'll happen 68% of the time, substantially higher than this like 50-ish% thing that we calculated for the alternative line of play. And I believe we have enough entries to do this because we're in dummy right now. We can ruff a club. We can use the jack of spades to cross to North's hand, ruff a club, high, use the 10 of spades to cross to North's hand, ruff our final round of clubs high, and then play a diamond to the king to pull the last round of trumps. And there are a couple things that could go wrong. I mean, it's possible someone roughs the king of diamonds, but in that case we're going down anyway. It's possible that some opponent ends up discarding diamonds on clubs. Then we might, change our plan of using entries to North's hand to rough clubs. We might then use the king of diamonds as an earlier entry if we find out someone is short in clubs. In fact, maybe we should be playing a diamond to the king at trick 3 here after roughing a club. Obviously, spades could be 4-1. We're going to go down if that's the case, but it feels like this is a much better percentage chance than going after the diamond roughs. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. So we rough a club high, and I want to spend a second or two thinking about whether we should lead a diamond to the king immediately. It looks like we should. Yeah, so let's do it. Diamond to the king, club rough high. We can play a spade to the jack, rough the last club high, and then as long as both opponents follow to that second trump, we're good. We don't need the diamonds to break. We have successfully reversed the dummy and taken the first 10 tricks. Yeah, these reversing the dummy plans can work out as long as you count and keep track of your entries. Sometimes you just don't have enough entries to do it, so you should make sure that the plan actually works before being like, aha, I see the plan here. Because frequently, you're not going to be provided enough dummy entries to pull off this dummy reversal line of play. And most of the time, the dummy is going to be the hand that's lesser in high cards, and that means they're going to be void or devoid of entries a lot of the time. But here we had just enough. The jack 10 9 of spades being high trumps was also important, so that not only could we cross to North's hand in spades, but so that the 9 of spades would have been a high trump on the 3rd round of the suit. So a little unusual. I would say this doesn't come up very often, but when it does, it's kind of a powerful tool. It can also be utilized if you have a very weak trump suit in your hand, like ace-king 5th opposite 3 small. It can be correct to ruff 3 times in the ace-king 5th hand, then just cash the ace-king, and then start running side suit winners. They'll rough in with a natural trump trick, but then your 3 small and dummy will have promoted into a extra trump that you can take. On to board 8, we're in 3 no trump here. Okay, I vaguely remember doing this hand with Kurt when I was visiting him, so I know the solution, but this is a hand that is, I think they got the solution, well, we'll see. I want to read the solution when we get to the end of the hand, but let's talk through the hand a little bit just so that we can get a sense of what's going on. We're in 3 no trump. There's no opposition bidding, and we get the queen of clubs lead. Well, outside of the heart suit, we don't have a lot of potential for extra tricks. We could score an extra trick in the diamond suit, but we're going to have to give up the lead once. That'll only get us up to 3 diamonds, 2 clubs, 2 hearts, and the ace of spades is 8 tricks. By then, the opponents will have either set up spades so that they can beat the contract, or set up clubs so that they can beat the contract. And we won't be able to mess around in hearts. That means, because we don't have time to set up a diamond trick, we're actually going to need to score 2 extra tricks in the heart suit. Well, how can we score 2 extra tricks in the heart suit when we only have 6 cards and we just have the ace-king? It means we're going to need to do a little suit combination work. So first things first, let's win the ace of clubs. Don't want to give the opponents an opportunity to shift to spades, where certainly we're going to lose a trick in hearts along the way somewhere, and they might have set up 4 spade tricks to cash if we duck trick 1. So we win the ace of clubs. Well, it has to be right to lead a low heart out of our hand. Obviously, leading hearts from north doesn't really help our cause. So what layouts of the heart suit can we actually score 4 heart tricks? Well, it looks pretty natural with this kind of suit combination to play, say, low to the 8, right? We would be able to pick off Jack 9 third or Queen 9 third in West's hand. We play low, West plays low, we play the 8. East has to win their remaining honor, the queen or jack, and then we cross to the king of diamonds, play the ace king of hearts, the other hard honor falls, 10 of hearts is good, 3 of hearts is good. We have our 9 tricks. But it could be sensible instead, when we lead a low heart, what if West doesn't split with the queen or jack of hearts? Or what if they don't split because it's not productive to do so? So could it make sense to play a low heart to the 10? Well, let's think about what layouts that legitimately picks up. We're going to gain when West has queen jack third of hearts and they don't split their honors. Well, we could make the contract legitimately if West has queen jack third of hearts. If they split, we could go ace king of hearts and play a low heart on the next round of the suit. So we could do that. We can also pick up queen jack fourth of hearts if West doesn't split. And in this case, we can also legitimately make our contract. We lead a low heart, West plays the jack, we play the king, we go ace of hearts next, and then we lead the 10 of hearts, pinning East 9 third. So on both of those layouts, we could, technically, if we guess the heart suit correctly, pick up queen jack third or queen jack fourth with East having the 9. So that's what would happen if West splits their honors. And I think for that reason, West probably should split their honors. Or more generally, I think West's best defense in a lot of these scenarios would be to stick in a heart honor on the first round of the suit. So I think I want to hold off on further discussion until we look at their solution. Maybe they discuss this in the solution, although I have the feeling that they don't. But when we lead a low heart, just because the chances that West doesn't split, I guess, are like somewhat high. Like a defender wouldn't necessarily stick in the jack of hearts from queen jack fourth, right? They might think that we're just going to play ace king of hearts and another heart if we happen to have 2 hearts in our own hand, for example, which is not unreasonable given the auction. We could easily be like 4-2, 4-3 in shape, something like that. So when we lead a low heart, West doesn't play an honor, and this means we don't really have a guess of what to do on the second or third round of the suit. If West had like stuck in the jack, we play the king, we play the ace, then what, right? Do we lead low next? Do we lead the 10 next? It really is a complete guess. And so I think that for that reason, like, it's really not clear to me that playing the 10 of hearts is the correct plan. But I do want to look at their solution, because this is what they came up with, is low heart to the 10. And I think it's reasonable. I just think that like both lines of play are actually quite reasonable. So in this case, West had queen jack fourth of hearts and could have given us a bit more of a problem if they had split their heart honors. But I do want to see what they say, and then maybe I'll make some other comments. All right, we're in 3 no trump. West's opening club lead should be 1, since a spade shift would not be good. Exactly. We figured that out. I'm going to kind of rearrange the screen a bit. Here we go. South's best chance is to hope to take 4 heart tricks, as well as the ace of spades, 2 diamonds, and 2 clubs. Yep, we came to that conclusion. We realized that even if we could set up 1 diamond trick, it's not enough to make our contract. Scoring 2 extra tricks in the heart suit has to be the best chance. So South leads a heart towards dummy, and when West follows low, play the 10 from North. Okay, I'm very curious what they say next. On the given lie of the cards, the 10 will hold, heart can easily be developed. Yup. It may seem intuitive to play the 8 on the first round of the suit. Playing West for 3 hearts, including the 9, and either the queen or jack. Playing the 10 will also work on this distribution of the cards. Ah! That is a incredible point that I did not think of, and therefore I feel foolish. Of course it will. I completely forgot that if I play the 10 of hearts, we also pick up this holding. Good call. So yes, playing a heart to the 10 is like clearly correct. Nonetheless, I still think West should be sticking in an honor here to make this a little bit difficult for us. And they should randomize between the queen or jack when they have both of them, of course. Yep, playing the 10 is necessary if West started with queen jack 4th of hearts. If West plays a heart honor, here we go. Okay, I am now I have just like a bunch of egg on my face. They do talk about the West splitting their heart honors. North wins the trick, and the other heart honor is cashed. South must decide whether to continue with the 10, hoping to pin the 9, or with a small heart, hoping West started with 3 hearts, including both the queen and jack. The above lie of the cards is the only case in which exiting a low heart will work. Kind of. It depends how often West is finding a clever play of like the queen or jack from different holdings. Exiting the 10 will succeed when West began with 4 hearts, including both the queen and jack, and when West began with 3 hearts, including the 9. So, correct to lead the 10 on the 3rd round. That seems intuitively correct to me, but I feel like... Oh, wait, they have fully talked through everything. Because here in this scenario, West actually did put up the queen of hearts from queen 9 3rd on the first round of the suit. What a player. Wow. All right, this hand is very satisfying now. I do appreciate that they went through all of the possibilities for the line of play. Yeah, I don't think anything more to say. They explained this one a lot better than I did, so... but yes, the concept of leading a low heart to the 10 there, I think is something that's a little bit counterintuitive, but you can figure out if you work through some of the possibilities. And of course, honor 9 3rd, you do pick up by a low heart to the 10. Pretty cool. Board 9, we are in 3 no trump. We get a spade lead. And for starters, we cannot duck this trick. King of hearts is a little bit unprotected here, so can't let East in to put a heart through. I will think about the rest of the hand once that happens. No. We should actually make sure that we understand what we're doing before we win a trick unnecessarily. So spade lead, we have 2 spades, we have 2 diamonds, we're going to need to take 5 club tricks. I think I'm going to start the club suit by leading the king, but let's pause for a second. So no bidding. East is not a passed hand. Okay, yeah, this is all going to be fairly important to our decision making here. So first off, every time the opponents make a lead, you still do want to think about what that lead could be from. 5 of spades cannot hold another spot card beneath it. We have the 2, 3, and 4. So West has at most 4 spades. This lead could even be from 3 small or something. Very possible. Often it's right to lead a major against a no trump, 3 no trump auctions like this. So West, even having another 4-card suit, such as clubs, might still lead a spade from 3 small cards. Well, if that's the case, West would have been very likely to lead from a 5-card suit, and therefore, since West has 4 spades and didn't lead from a 5-card suit, if they don't have a 5-card suit anywhere, they must have at least 1 club in their hand. The most they could have would be 4 spades, 4 hearts, 4 diamonds, still leaves room for 1 club card. So we can pick up 4-0 club breaks in either direction, thanks to the 8 of clubs in North's hand and the 10 of clubs in South's hand. And just based on the reasoning about the opening lead choice from West, I think I'm going to choose to protect against West having 4 clubs and East having a void, as opposed to the other way around. Now, this is kind of coupled with the fact that I mentioned East didn't have an opportunity to open the bidding. If East really had a club void, maybe we would have seen an opening bid here in front of us. No guarantee. I mean, East might be like 5-4-4 with a 6 count or something and just doesn't feel like making a preempt despite some distributional assets. But I think East would be more likely to have a bid with a void, whereas here, a no trump past 3 no trump, East never really had an opportunity to show their hand. So let's see if we have done the right thing. And this means we want to cash the king clubs on the first round. If we play a low club and West follows, we're not going to know if we should stick in the 8 or win the ace. We do cash the king clubs, West follows. We can actually claim at this point. We don't need to play the rest of the hand out. East does show out. And now we can use one of our other entries to continue taking club finesses, cash the clubs, and score up our 9 tricks. I don't think I need to look at the solution. I'm pretty sure we hit upon the right idea that this 5 of spades lead being 4th best generally is going to indicate West doesn't have a 5-card suit to lead from, and therefore we can just count the hand out. Once West has at least 1 club, it doesn't matter if it's singleton. We have 9 clubs. We can always pick up a 3-1 club split. The only concerning possibility is if clubs were 4-0. On to board 10. We get to 6 diamonds, and we get a club lead. Well, this is a hand, so no bidding by the opposition. We have no diamond losers, no club losers, no spade losers. We want to kind of optimize our chances of making this. Even if the king of hearts is offside doubleton, I think. That might be the only hope of picking up an extra trick somewhere. So let me think for a second on how we're going to approach this. Ooh, actually, no. I see a different possibility. Yeah, again, and I will say this isn't like the puzzle mentality. I always, when I'm playing at the table, I hate taking finesses. I really, really hate taking finesses when I play bridge. I think I might be like more finesse averse than like most other top level players. Just I can't stand like the feeling that I have to risk a trick on just like a 50-50 proposition. You know, you do it when it's necessary and when you kind of need the finesse for communication or whatnot. But on hands like this, I always am looking for a way to throw my left-hand opponent in to lead the heart suit. And I think we actually have a possibility to do that here with not, as I was already mentioning, like King Doubleton of Hearts, but with the 4th round of spades, in fact. So how is this going to work? If we can strip the club suit and play Ace King of Spades in a spade ruff, and then get back to North's hand, while still having trumps in both hands, we can play the 4th round of spades, and if East shows out, we can throw a heart on this trick. West will be in, we'll be out of clubs and spades, and we still have trumps in both hands. So this plan will work if diamonds are 2-2. If diamonds are 3-1, yeah, if diamonds are 3-1, ... question mark. I'm wondering, is there a way to do this if diamonds are 3-1 when West has a singleton diamond? Well, let's start off by winning the Ace of Clubs first. So I'm a little bit limited on entries to the North hand. I mean, not really, but we're going to need to ruff a spade and pull trumps and ruff a club and still get back to North's hand to lead the 4th round of spades. So I'm wondering, can I pull 2 rounds of trumps now? I think the answer to that is no. If I were to, for example, play Ace of Diamonds, Jack of Diamonds, I could then go Ace, King of Spades, Spade Ruff, King of Clubs, Club Ruff. Oh, actually I can. And then I lead the 4th round of spades. If East shows out, I can pitch a heart. If East follows to the 4th round of spades, obviously we're going to have to ruff, and then we'll need to try the heart finesse to make our contract, which, you know, that's okay, right? We've exhausted all other possibilities at that point, and taking the heart finesse makes sense. So if I go Ace of Diamonds, Jack of Diamonds, we've kind of determined that when trumps are 2-2, we've come up with a pretty good line of play. It seems reasonable to me. If trumps are 3-1, what are my options? I can still go Ace, King of Spades, Spade Ruff, King of Clubs, Club Ruff, and lead the 4th spade. The issue is that East might... Oh no, our mosquito's back from a few days ago, and it looks much larger. Oh, that's not good. I have a feeling I'm going to have a lot of mosquito bites coming up in like tomorrow or maybe today. So what was I saying? If East has 3 diamonds and 3 spades, they might ruff the 4th round of spades to prevent their partner from getting unplayed. We could overruff, but then... I'm just wondering if I can, like, on that layout, I can still pick off a King Doubleton of Hearts with West. Because I would then like to be able to cash the Ace of Hearts, cross back to North's hand, and then lead a heart towards the Queen. You say that when the mosquito, or I don't know how to pronounce this, and I must be missing the joke. I do not get a bunch of solicitors for Christchurch on my front porch. I'm sure it was a funny joke. Everyone in chat is laughing, and I'm just kind of lost. But thank you, Brad. I appreciate it. Okay, let's suppose I cash 1 round of diamonds and go Ace, King of Spades, Spade Ruff, King of Clubs, Club Ruff, spade. No, this is no good. I need to cash a second diamond. Okay, I think we've found the line of play. So we're going to pull 2 rounds of diamonds. If they are 3-1, I mean, so be it. We're just going to need the heart finesse. But if they are 2-2, we have this extra opportunity to throw West in with the 4th round of spades. Hey, look at that. Diamonds are 2-2. So we rough the 3rd round of spades. We still don't know if our plan is going to work yet. But now we play the 4th spade. East shows out. We can pitch a heart. West is end played. Leads the king of hearts. Nice. Made our contract. Yeah, again, just another hand where you want to avoid taking finesses if you can. And we came up with a small extra chance to avoid taking the heart finesse. Ooh, 7 clubs. Not going to be throwing anyone in on this hand. King of spades lead. Where did we start when I did this with Kurt? Was it A14 or something? Oh, we might have been in the C's. Yeah, we might have been in the C's. Okay, we're not there yet. 7 clubs, huh? King of spades lead. Well, this hand looks... let me just look at the bidding for a second. Okay, no bidding by the opponents. I mean, you wouldn't really expect it when we have all of the values. We'll better win the first trick with the ace of spades. And we have no losers in spades, no losers in hearts, no losers in diamonds. We need to prevent a trump loser. Well, that's going to be impossible if West has 4 clubs to the jack. So it might seem automatic to just cash the ace, king, queen of clubs and see if the suit splits or if the jack drops singleton. But we have a small extra chance if East has jack 4th of clubs, and we're not going to find out about the jack 4th of clubs before we've cashed 2 rounds of trump, right? We can't afford to just take a first round club finesse and bank on that working. We would much rather cash the ace king. If the suit splits, we can just claim. But we can pull off a trump coup on this hand, and to do that, we're basically going to need to reach an end position where we're down to the queen 10 doubleton of trumps in hand. I know that if John Worf is out there watching this, which I'm sure he will, he's going to tell me that's not the only end position where a trump coup works. But for the sake of visualizing, this is like the simplest end position we can end up with. We're down to the queen 10 of clubs. East has jack doubleton. And somehow we're back over in the north hand with, you know, a couple of spades. We lead a spade, East roughs low, we can overruff with the 10 and then cash the queen of clubs. So how can we arrange that end position? Again, we're going to need to count our entries pretty carefully. So to do that, we're going to need to shorten ourselves to the same trump length as East. Otherwise, when we lead a card in some end position, East will discard and we're going to be forced to ruff in our own hand. We're going to be stuck in the wrong hand and then can't pull off the ultimate trump coup. So we need to ruff twice in our own hand to shorten our trump length to East's presumed jack 4th. And then we're going to need a final entry to get back over to North's hand at trick 11 so that we can lead a spade and pull off the trump coup, ultimately. Well, we used one entry now with the ace of spades. We have an entry in hearts and an entry in diamonds, which means we need to immediately ruff a spade to our hand to start shortening ourselves. Now we test the clubs, and West is going to show out on this trick. And we need a little bit of an extra piece of good luck here, which is that we're going to need East to follow to 3 rounds of diamonds and 3 rounds of hearts. What did West discard on the previous trick? West discarded a diamond. So I think it's probably correct at this point to cash 3 rounds of diamonds. I don't believe they're going to penalize me if I don't. But the rationale would be, if East happens to have a doubleton spade, our plan still works as long as East doesn't discard from a red suit that they can later ruff. So I am going to cash 3 rounds of diamonds now before playing a spade. East does follow, and East follows to the spade, so now doesn't really matter what the rest of the distribution is. We just need East to have 3 hearts, which looks like they do. And we can eventually lead a spade towards our hand, cash the queen of clubs, and make our contract. So the reason that I cashed 3 diamonds before playing a 3rd spade was if East happened to have started with 2 spades, 4 hearts, 3 diamonds, and 4 clubs, we would need to cash the diamonds first. It's just a bit of a guess, right? I mostly guessed based on the fact that West threw a diamond on the 2nd round of trumps, so that's a small extra possibility. I'm a little sad that they didn't include that in their solution, but I kind of understand. They're just trying to present you with the concept of a trump coup on this deal. Nothing complicated, no like extra possibilities here or there. I'll pull up the solution. I'm curious whether or not they talk about this as an option. Wait, look at this layout. Oh my god, East does have 2 spades, 4 hearts, 3 diamonds, and 4 clubs. Maybe they will talk about it. I will say I hadn't been impressed with some of their solutions up until level 4. Like the level 1, 2, and 3 solutions felt very underwhelming. But we'll see if they talk about this 5-2 spade split possibility. Only possible danger is a trump loser. An early spade ruff will be necessary to prepare for a trump coup. South pulls 2 rounds of trumps. West shows out, meaning that we need to ruff a spade. South has to shorten its trumps 1 more time. If East began with 3-3-3-4 distribution, South cannot go wrong. If East has only 2 spades, South must guess whether East has 2-4-3-4 or 2-3-4-4. Exactly. South must cash 3 rounds of East's 3-card red suit, ending in dummy, which is exactly what I did. The diamonds before playing another spade and ruffing. Next, South cashes 3 rounds of East's 4-card red suit, ending in dummy, and then performs the trump coup. You're in the right hand. Very cool. Okay, they didn't like fully walk through why you needed to cash 3 diamonds, but I'm happy that they discussed the possibility. Cool. It's growing on me, their solutions to these hands. All right, West opens a no trump. We balance with 2 spades, partner raises to 4 spades, and we get a club lead. Well, I think this is an exercise in cutting communication between the opponent's hands. I'm not certain about that, but this 9 of clubs looks an awful lot like short clubs. So doubleton, because they opened a no trump. They would never do that with a small singleton, would they? And if West has like ace king 3rd of spades, and we just play a spade at trick 2, West is going to continue clubs, get in with the next round of spades, and surely East has a diamond on her. I mean, West can't possibly have all of the ace, king, queen, jack of diamonds and not lead one, right? So West will be able to see through the backs of the cards and underlead their ace, king of diamonds to their partner's hand to get a club ruff. But we can prevent this if we lead a diamond at trick 2. Then, as long as West is the one who has both spade honors, or East has honor doubleton and spades, there's no way for East to get in to give their partner a ruff. Let me think for a second. So if East happens to have singleton king of spades, how many more high cards are missing? Partner has 10. We have 11. That's 21. If East has the king of spades, which would be 3, West would have at least the ace, king, queen of diamonds and didn't lead the suit. Yeah, I don't think that's what's going on. I think West does have the ace, king of spades, which means that this seems like the best way to prevent them from getting a club ruff. There's ace, king of diamonds. They do play back at club, but now we're completely safe to start pulling trumps. And then we get got because West led the 9 of clubs from 9/3. But no. So spade to the jack. We know that West has the queen of hearts for the no trump opening, so we can just take the heart finesse and take the rest of the tricks. Yeah, these ideas of cutting communications between the opponent's hand can come up for a variety of reasons, but here the reason was we wanted to prevent East from getting in later in the play so that they could give their partner club ruff once West had voided themselves in the club suit. One has to say snicker snack every time they spot a scissor coup. Okay. 70 pull-ups? Oh my god. That's insane. I remember in school when we had to like do physical fitness tests, I could do a lot of pull-ups because I'm tiny. And so relative to like the size of my body, I am fairly strong. But I've never got to 70. Took you an hour? Jeez, that's insane. I think my record is like 25 or something. Granted, I don't think I spent an hour doing pull-ups, but 70 feels really hard. 1 pull-up a minute, it sounds easy. It's really not, though. You don't grow as big as Steph without doing gravity stretches. You're right about that. Steph is 1 tall dude. 1 no, 6 no. You put on more muscle weight recently, you mean? That's good. That's good. How are we doing in this 6 no trump contract? Well, I think I see the idea. This is a fairly common suit combination that I think defenders should be aware of. This is one where ace, queen, 10, 8 opposite king, 4th. If a defender from jack, 9, 4th, for example, West, if West has jack, 9, 4th of diamonds, they can make a really important false card, and I think we're going to see that. So we win the heart lead, and let's cash the ace of diamonds. I think West is going to play the 9 on this trick, and they do. You're now worth 5 grams. A great 5 grams. There must be something lost in translation. A great 5 grams. But congratulations, Brad, on earning a large salary. 300 pounds worth. Okay, what was I thinking on this hand? Well, now that that 9 of diamonds has come down, we technically can pick up East for jack, 4th, right? If we cash the queen on the next round of the suit. But if West has made a clever false card from jack, 9, 4th, we need to play low to the king. And so this is one of the reasons why the false card's effective, which is that a declarer who doesn't have enough information might, respect the 9 of diamonds as a true card and cash the queen next, when if West had just lazily followed low, declarer is always playing a diamond to the king on the second round of the suit. So I think we should try and look for more information about the distribution of the opponent's cards. And to do that, it's going to be important to duck a round of clubs before we have to guess the diamond suit. So I think we may as well do it now. This will allow us to be able to count out, as best we can, the opponent's hands. Spades split. Ah, but East has 5 clubs. So West has turned up with 3 spades, 3 hearts, 2 clubs. Maybe I should count East. East has turned up with 3 spades, 3 hearts, and 5 clubs, so they can have at most 2 diamonds, which means we do want to play a diamond to the king. You made an awesome cream of parsnip soup. Oh man, I am a big soup fan. I don't know if it's because while I was in college, I worked at a soup place for a while, and I kind of got hooked on like a bunch of the more exotic type soups that were being served. Not just your like tomato bisque or whatever, but we had like a lamb curry, we had a gazpacho during the winter, variety of other things, which were all really good. I don't think I've had a cream of parsnip before. I generally don't appreciate cream bases in my soups. 6 no trump. Why not gazpacho during the summer? So we served it chilled. Wait, I guess then why wasn't it served during the summer? I don't remember. It's not something you would eat in winter. Okay, look, maybe I'm getting my seasons wrong. I have the feeling that we served it during the winter. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Thai pumpkin. Ooh, that's a good call. Yeah. Any sort of Thai soup is really good. What am I doing here? I am in 6 no trump. Club, a spade, a no trump, 4 no trump, 6 no trump. Awesome auction, guys. Thank you. Okay, no opposition bidding. We have what looks like 11 tricks off the top. We got 4 clubs, 3 diamonds, 3 spades, and a heart. We could score an extra trick in diamonds if that suit breaks. We could score an extra trick in spades if that suit breaks. And probably not going to score an extra trick in hearts. But I think this is probably a prime example if we're talking about squeezes. So yeah, let's just imagine for a second that we think our best chance is to score a trick in diamonds or in spades. No opportunities to score an extra trick in hearts. How would we go about that? Well, of course, we could cash the ace, king, queen to diamonds, see if the suit splits. If it doesn't, we could then cash the ace, king, queen of spades, see if that suit splits. And if not, then, well, we're a little bit sad. We're not going to make the contract. But what happens if we were able to cash the ace, king, queen of diamonds and then run all of the tricks in our hand? Is it possible that someone who has long diamonds and long spades could get in trouble? Well, let's think about the end position, okay? So let's say we have to win the first trick. Let's say we cash the ace, king, queen of diamonds and say West shows out. Now we play the king, queen, jack of clubs and the ace of hearts. How many cards do we have left in our hand? We have 3 spades, we have 1 heart, and we have 1 diamond. And what is dummy going to have left? I guess they'll have ace, king, queen, 5 of spades, and the 5 of hearts. So is it possible that, who showed out West, is it possible that East could still have guards in both spades and diamonds? Well, yes, they could, in their 5 cards that they have left, have the Jack of Diamonds and the Jack Fourth of Spades. So the unfortunate point here is that we have this extra small heart in our hand that is just taking up space. If we were somehow able to like get rid of that one trick, then we would be down to a 4-card end position at the end. We would have 3 small spades and a diamond in our hand, and we would be in our hand, and dummy would have the ace, king, queen, 5 of spades. East could not have, in just 4 cards, the Jack of Diamonds as well as 4 spades. So they would be ultimately squeezed when we play whatever our last winner is in the end position. So that means we want to get rid of this losing heart card so that East has fewer cards left at the end of the hand. This is called rectifying the count. So we'll duck a heart before doing anything else on this one. And now we can test the suits. And the squeeze that comes up here is going to happen effectively automatically. Look, we even guessed who was going to be short in diamonds. Well done, us. Yes, Brad, ever so clever, thinks that a way to avoid the problem of rectifying the count is that you could just pitch winners. But, so this is what rectifying the count is, where we get down to a position with fewer losers so that in the end position, our opponent doesn't have enough cards left in their hand, and the squeeze will actually work. In this case, because we were playing for a simple squeeze, we needed to rectify the count down to 1 loser. And the loser in that case effectively is that we only have 11 tricks, we need 12. So that's getting down to 1 loser, where we've lost 1 trick, we have 1 more potential loser, but we have all of the rest. Some squeezes operate with more than 1 loser. Strip squeezes are a common thing that operates with 2 losers. I think people have heard me talk a lot about those on the channel. And then there are even some that operate with 3 or more losers. Like, you could squeeze someone on opening lead. Like, someone could lead at trick 1 and their partner could instantly be squeezed. It's happened before. I've had that happen to me at the table before. So they can crop up in all different ways, but this is the most basic of them. And all we were looking for in the end position there was whether or not East had pitched their last diamond. So we didn't need to worry about counting the spades. Some squeezes you will need to count the entire hand, but you should try and focus on the main card that you're trying to set up, this 5 of diamonds, and if it doesn't, then you just fall back and hope that the spades split. So hopefully we'll get some more squeezes. I feel like I've not done a particularly great job of describing them, but maybe it's been okay. We get to 4 spades. There's no opposition bidding. We get the 10 of hearts lead. 10 of hearts goes to the ace, and the queen of hearts comes back. There was a hand a week ago where someone was end played at trick 1 versus a grand. Yeah, that's kind of impressive. Okay, I see the idea here, and this is kind of a cool concept. So I'm gonna play low on this trick. I wonder if I should play the king just to demonstrate what goes wrong if we play the king. Maybe we can talk through it, right? Let's say we play the king of hearts and West follows, right? West led the 10 of hearts. They could have 10-9 doubleton. So East might have started with ace, queen, jack. And we play the king, West follows, we pull trumps, we exit a heart. So they get a heart trick, or a second heart trick, but then we can claim. Dummy's hearts are good, we can pitch our diamond losers. The problem is, if we play the king of hearts and West ruffs, West can switch to a diamond immediately. And this is unfortunate. We're still in pretty good shape to make the contract. So I guess we can think for a second and talk through the possibilities from there. But there is a stronger play than playing the King of Hearts, which is to play low here. Let's say we do play King of Hearts, it gets roughed. A diamond comes back. Well, we could just try the diamond finesse. I mean, no harm in giving it a shot. East would have turned up with the ace, queen, jack, fourth of hearts, and the king of diamonds. Unlikely they have a bid in the midst of a 2/1 auction, forcing their side to the 3 level, but it's possible with that 10 count. We could also go up with the ace of diamonds, though, and then try and pitch our heart loser on 3 rounds of clubs. If that survives, 3 rounds of clubs throwing a heart, we can then give up a diamond trick, rough a diamond high and dummy, and we'll have only lost a heart rough, and the king of diamonds. We still make our contract. We will go down, though, if someone roughs the 3rd round of clubs. We have no way to deal with our heart loser. We still have a diamond loser. That's going to be 4 tricks for the defense. So, is there something better we can do? Because, I mean, that still feels like a pretty good line of play. And sometimes we'll get away with an over trick, right? If hearts are 3-2. I think there's a pretty good reason to assume that the opponents have led a singleton heart, though, for starters. It's in the suit that we bid. West wouldn't just be leading a doubleton heart when both of us have bid the heart suit. They would try and set up tricks in a side suit, clubs or diamonds, presumably. So for that reason, I think it's very likely West has a singleton heart. But additionally, we have a guaranteed line of play to make our contract unless spades are like 5-0. And maybe even if spades are 5-0, actually, I haven't fully thought it through. But when we play low here, so let's just follow the play, because I think the line of play is going to show off what's going on better than me like trying to describe it. I do think it's probably worthwhile that if you're in this spot to, think about these sorts of things when you're playing at the table, because obviously you don't want to like play low on this trick and then look silly when it goes heart rough, diamond back, and then you just can't make the rest of the tricks. But the unusual thing that's going to happen here is that, first off, West wasn't able to rough the 2nd round of hearts, so they couldn't play a diamond through immediately. But now we know the hearts are 5-4, 3-1 around the table. East has 1 remaining heart, and we can actually set up the 5th round of hearts by roughing the heart suit now. At this point, we can just pull trumps. Even if they were originally 5-0, West has already roughed on the 3rd round of the suit. And dummy will be high after pitching this diamond queen. So it's kind of a weird avoidance play of sorts. We prevented West from getting in until it was like too late. By the time East had played a 3rd round of hearts, we were then just in time to be able to rough the 4th round, setting up an extra trick in the heart suit. Kind of a cool hand. An interesting concept. West opens a spade, East bids 2 spades, we overcall 3 hearts and get to 4 hearts. We get the king of clubs lead, and I see immediately 3 losers, 2 clubs and the ace of hearts. This hand is feeling oddly reminiscent of, what was it, board 12? Where West led the 9 of clubs at trick 1. I have the feeling West might switch to a diamond after this king of clubs takes a trick. And they do. So you can kind of see where this is going. We're going to win the diamond switch, but before playing a trump, wait, I'm thinking about this now. Give me a second. I was going to say before playing a trump, we want to cut communication in clubs. That doesn't make any sense, does it? Because if I play the king of hearts and they play a second diamond, I can just pull trumps and claim. Okay. Let's think for a second. We do have an auction. So West opened a spade. They led the king of clubs and now have switched to diamonds. The only scare is if that diamond was singleton, right? In that case, then the risk is East will get in with the second round of clubs and give their partner a diamond ruff. Okay. I mean, there's an alternative risk, which is that the diamond was from 4 small, and if we try fiddling around in a different suit, like I think I've spotted a potential plan, but let's try and figure out if it's a good plan. If we fiddle around in a different suit, West might have, led from 4 small diamonds. They get in. East now plays a second diamond, and then West gets in with the ace of hearts and gives their partner a diamond ruff. So but I'm thinking along these lines, and I hope that everyone can kind of see how board 12 and board 16 have a bit of a similar feel to them, right? There's one suit that the opponents have communication in, and they're trying to get a ruff in a different suit. So it feels as if I'm trying to cut their communication on this hand before going after the trump suit. Honestly, at the table, I think if you just led the queen of hearts to the next trick, or like cross to the ace of spades and led a low heart to like the jack or something, perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that line of play. I would not fault anyone for doing that. But from the puzzle standpoint, there's probably a small extra chance. The small extra chance I'm seeing is that the 10 of spades is a fairly high spot card. We could play ace king of spades and then lead the 10 of spades. And if East doesn't have the queen or jack of spades, I mean, they might not. Looks like they have the club ace, right? West led the king of clubs. West might have both the queen and jack of spades. We can pitch a club on this trick, and then we'll be able to start pulling trumps. So as long as this 9 of diamonds from West isn't some sort of like 9 from 9/4, that feels like an extra opportunity. So is this more likely that diamonds are actually 5-1 than West has led a diamond from 9/4? It doesn't feel that way to me intuitively. So I'm not convinced that this is the right line of play. I think it's the one they want, but I'll have to look at the solution afterwards and see if this is what they're, whether or not they discuss the possibility of West having led a diamond from 4 to 9. Okay. They just continue clubs, which makes things easy. And now we can just pull trumps. I'm curious if they consider that possibility. I have been impressed with the couple of solutions I've read from the level 4 deals so far, so maybe they talk about it. All right, West leads the king of clubs against 4 hearts, and switches to a diamond, which South wins. South has to lose 2 clubs and the ace of hearts. The defense is also threatening to get a diamond ruff. Well, unclear, but I like where your head's at. If South plays trumps immediately, West will win, put East on lead in clubs, and a diamond ruff will set the contract. South can cut the defensive communications with a loser-on-loser play if West has both the queen and jack of spades. Starts by leading a spade to the dummy. If West follows low, South should not finesse the 10. Okay. I managed to avoid that pitfall. I mean, obviously, if we play ace-king of spades and a spade and East covers and we ruff, like, we still have the opportunity to start playing trumps and make the contract if diamonds are 4-2. Right, exactly. So if West has the queen jack of spades, the loser on loser play still works. 10 of spades is played, we pitch the club loser, and now there's no transportation, can't get a diamond ruff. So they don't really talk about the possibility of West having diamond length. What would West's hand need to look like, though, if they had 5 spades and 4 diamonds? They could be like 5-1-4-3. I think that's totally reasonable. And maybe somewhat equally likely to this layout of the cards. So I'm still not convinced that the line of play they suggest is correct here. It's a cool concept. I think it has merit, but also just starting on hearts immediately has merit. Anyway, on to 17. How do I feel? We're at like 2 hours. Because we have 36 total. I guess 37 if we count D30 that I replayed through. I'm getting hungry. So I might call it after A18. We'll see how I feel after these next 2 deals. Ah, yes, a diamond, a heart, 2 no trump, 6 no trump. Everyone's favorite auction. Now, if you're familiar with, if you've kind of been following along with what we're doing, you want to try and associate some hands with things you've seen before. I mean, this is how like all experts in every field in the world do stuff. You don't just like reinvent the wheel every time you come to a new hand. You want to look at a hand and be like, oh, this seems similar to that hand that I've seen before. Well, let's try and pull up that hand that we had before. It was board 14, right? Take a look at board 14 and take a look at this hand. Do the hands look a little bit similar? I would hope so. So on board 14, remember, we had 11 tricks in 6 no trump. On this hand, we have 4 clubs, 3 hearts, 2 spades, and 2 diamonds, which adds up to 11. Also 6 no trump. There, we had the possibility of setting up extra tricks via 3-3 breaks in a couple of different suits. Here, our only real extra chance is a 3-3 heart split to collect an extra trick on pure power. So we have that in our back pocket. But we should now start looking at this hand and thinking, hey, maybe there's an opportunity to squeeze someone. If, you know, if one of the players, or potentially both opponents, hold guards in other suits. And there's a couple of things that we need to think about. I guess, you know, I could go into a whole variety of things and talk about why like a double squeeze is not possible on this hand, but for the most part, we're going to ignore double squeezes until we actually get to a deal that requires them. We're still thinking along the lines of simple squeezes and trying to associate the concepts that we learned on board 14 with the hand that's now in front of us. Well, what did we need to do on that hand? We think about the end position we want to reach. Hey Dan, welcome, glad to see ya. So the end position we're probably going to want to reach is like, let's think. What if an opponent has long diamonds and long hearts, right? We have more diamonds than spades, so I guess we can start there. Well, we've learned before that we want to duck a trick to rectify the count. Let's think about how we might go about that and whether or not that would be a good idea. So if we were to, say, cash our spades, cash our clubs, cash the ace king of diamonds, what end position do we get down to? How many cards do we have in our hand? Well, we have 3 hearts remaining and 2 diamonds, and dummy is going to have a spade and 4 hearts. Ace, king, queen, 5 of hearts. So either opponent, in fact, could have 4 card hearts along with either a spade or diamond still in their hand. There's no real pressure on them. That must mean that we want to get down to an end position with fewer cards than 5 between the 2 hands. This will be similar to what we did on board 14, where we ducked a trick, and then East was unable to keep both the Jack 4th of diamonds and the Jack 10 9 8 of spades. They got squeezed. So what happens if we just duck the first trick, right? Well, let's think. We play low on the queen of spades. Let's say West continues a spade. It doesn't really matter. We win the ace of spades. We crossed the king of diamonds. We play the king of spades, pitching a diamond from our hand. We run all of the clubs. We cash the ace of diamonds. Dummy is down to 4 hearts. We are down to 3 hearts and a diamond. So again, no opponent could keep a diamond as well as 4 hearts. Okay, this is a pretty good plan, right? So now we've constructed a way that we can try and squeeze the opponents, but normally the diamond suit here is going to split evenly between the opponent's hands. I mean 4-3, right, with 7 cards missing. So in that case, the opponent who doesn't have the length in hearts could just could just save their diamonds, and their partner saves their hearts, and then there's no squeeze. So it's going to be much more valuable to try and isolate the diamond threat in one of the opponent's hands. And for this reason, rather than ducking the queen of spades at trick 1, we're going to want to duck a diamond trick. This way, if diamonds are 4-3, well, regardless of how the diamonds are distributed, only one defender is going to be able to hold the guard in diamonds at the end of play. So that's going to be our plan. To rectify the count is we're going to duck a diamond immediately, win the king of spades return, cash the king of diamonds, and now we proceed similar to what we did on the previous hand on board 14. We cash our clubs. I guess I'll cash the ace of diamonds just to now be on the lookout for if a diamond gets discarded. East does pitch a diamond, so our 4 of diamonds is good. And now we have all of the hearts. East was in fact squeezed in hearts and diamonds at the end of the hand. So similar to what happened on board 14, we just needed to construct the end position we wanted to reach, make sure that someone could actually be squeezed so that we don't have too many cards left, rectify the count, but then they added in a little bit of an extra bonus here in that we want to be careful about which suit we rectify the count in. On the previous hand, we rectified the count by ducking a heart trick, which technically was the only suit that we could, but here they gave us this red herring of they led the queen of spades. We could just duck the first trick and that would rectify the count for the squeeze. Unfortunately, we need to isolate the diamond guard in East's hand, and that's why ducking a diamond's important. So board 18, we're in 4 spades. We're also doing great. Now that the timer's off, I have no tally marks on my score sheet. We've gotten all of the answers. King of diamonds lead against 4 spades. Instinctively, I just want to duck this trick, but let me think for a second. So the thing that I'm seeing is that we have a club loser and we have 2 heart losers. If I was able to, good night, Steph, sleep well, thanks for tuning in. If I was able to set up the club suit by, say, ducking a club trick to West, then I could use the clubs eventually to pitch some heart losers. But I think there's a couple of pitfalls that we need to avoid on this plan. Like, let's say we were to win the ace of diamonds and pull 2 rounds of trumps, right? And then go ace king of clubs club. Well, even if West happens to have the 3rd club, and we can do this in a bit more careful way, right? Like, win the ace of diamonds, cross to the ace of spades, lead a club up. We've seen some of these avoidance plays earlier where a defender has like queen doubleton or queen third, and by leading up towards the ace king suit, we can prevent their partner from getting on lead. So we could do all of this, and that would be perfectly fine to attempt playing the hand this way. But the problem that I'm foreseeing is, let's say East has a doubleton club and 3 spades. Well, a clever East could ruff the 3rd round of clubs with their trump, stealing their partner's queen of clubs, and then put a heart through. So I think a better plan is going to be to play for the clubs to split 3-2, use the ace of diamonds to pitch a club, kind of change the shape of the south hand, and then we can ruff the clubs good by playing ace king of clubs, ruff a club high, and pull trumps, eventually ending in North's hand to get to the long clubs. And yeah, I mean, that looks like the plan to me. We're probably going to want to be like a little bit careful about how we handle this. There was no opposition bidding, but it's still possible that clubs could be 4-1. So I think what I want to do is make sure to lead the 2nd round of clubs from the south hand, just in case West has a singleton club. So let's see if this works out. We pitch our club loser, and we now play the ace of clubs. So let me think for a second. Can I pull 2 rounds of trumps before playing a club to the king? I believe so. Yeah. Should be okay. I'm just trying to guard against as many possible layouts of the hand as possible, right? Because if East has a singleton club, we still want to be able to fall back on the heart finesse if possible. So I think this is safe to play 2 rounds of trumps and then lead a club up. Okay. West does have the 3rd trump. You know, I got to this point, and I hope I haven't played too fast, because my plan now is just to take the heart finesse. I don't really see an alternative. There's no way to throw West in to lead hearts. I mean, we protected against as many possible layouts as we could, as far as I can tell, of the East-West cards. Yep, here we go. No! I got it wrong at the last minute. Okay, what did I do incorrect on this one? I mean, I liked our plan. Like, this was a very good plan. Huh. Maybe they want me to protect against this 4-1 club split by only pulling 1 round of trumps. I bet that's it. How do I feel about that? This seems lower percentage than the 2-2 trump split with someone having, with 4-1 clubs. I mean, specifically West having 4 clubs. I don't know. We'll go through the line of play that they want, and then I'm going to look at the solution to see if they describe it. So I pulled 2 rounds of trumps here. What they want me to do is only pull 1 round before leading a club up, because now we can ruff a club, pull a trump, ruff a club, pull a trump, and our 5th club is good. Not sure how I feel about this. I think our line of play might have been better, but let's see if they talk about it. But yeah, kind of a cool hand. It combines a lot of concepts, and you really have to work for protecting against some bad distributions of the East-West cards. Okay. West leads the king of diamonds. South possible losers are 1 club and 3 hearts. South should play to set up the club suit, without allowing East to lead on lead to play through the king of hearts. That's true. The correct line of play ensures the contract whenever clubs are 3-2 and spades are not 4-0. Yep, we knew that. So both our line and their line do that. The only thing that we have to be careful about is 4-1 club divisions. So declare allows West to hold the opening lead with the diamond king. That's what we did. And then the plan's going to be to discard the 3rd club on the ace of diamonds, then ruff out the club suit. Great. Eventually reaching dummy and trumps to enjoy, there it is, the long clubs. When West doesn't switch to a trump at trick 2, declare can further improve his chances and make the contract when West has only 1 club. Okay. So they're telling me, hold on. Hold on. I actually didn't consider this at the time, but yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, the opponents could have switched to trumps to prevent this plan. They're telling me I should now play for a defensive mistake, rather than taking a legitimate chance against different layouts of the cards. Come back to hand with a trump, and lead a club up towards dummy. Yeah, if West has a singleton club, we make it. What if East has a singleton club? Did you think about that? Okay, I believe they have once again found the wrong line of play on this board. I do think pulling a 2nd round of trumps is correct. Maybe, okay, hold on. Let me think about this for a second. Because this also makes when West has a doubleton spade and clubs are 4-1. I don't know, it feels close to me, right? If West has 4 clubs, we need to fall back on the heart finesse. I guess this also makes if East has a singleton in both black suits. I mean, wasn't there bidding on this auction? And by bidding, I mean no bidding. Yeah, neither opponent has bid. Wow. In fact, I think a lot of players might just make a takeout double with West's hand or overcall 2 diamonds. I don't know. Also, the lack of bidding, I guess, makes it less likely that West has the heart ace. So the ace of hearts being on side is more likely. Well, it's kind of a cool hand. We most of the way got to their solution. I still am not convinced that their line of play was better than the one we took originally, but that is halfway through.